Good afternoon. This is Bob from Trade Genius. It's the 22nd of November, and I'm just going to show some different charts today. I think what's driving the action and giving my perspective. And the first one is the yen. And if you notice here, this is a pretty big move, but it's been driving down for quite some time, even well before this election. And I think this is all in anticipation of the Federal Reserve raising interest rates. You're looking at right here, but I think we're at a point now where the 10-year yield is now fully valued against the stock yields, and any higher for the 10-year will start causing some disruptions with the stock market. And we're kind of in a week here where I think they're trying to reach for all-time highs here and give the mission accomplished sign, and they pushed over to 2200 tonight. Last night, and sold off. It pushed up to 2200, sitting there. And tomorrow I don't think there's gonna be too much action, but I'd be shocked. It might be a push down here, but this is a big move for currencies, and but it's showing no sign yet of reversing. But I think reversals are going to be violent, and because all the leverage in currency land. And we're off on Thursday, but the rest of the world is trading, and there's usually some really crazy stuff that happens when we're closed and the rest of the markets are open. So it could be likely that Japan pushes their yen even cheaper and try to gain more advantage. That could be reversed pretty hard Friday going into Monday. And the second thing driving this is, if you look at TLT, is our bond fund, the longer term one, and it's at the bottom end here too. It looks just like the Japanese yen. So don't know who's driving who here, but at some point these yields get pretty juicy for a country like Japan to sell as many yen units as they possibly can to capture, with counterfeit money, capture real yields from our bonds. So I'm betting that pretty soon here this thing will this thing's going to turn. But it's also, I think it put in a bottom here, so we'll have to see if it holds, and we'll just have to wait and see next week. And the other thing I want to show here is on oil. They got it got smacked down today. The OPEC thing is just, what a joke. This is the problem that we're dealing with computers and automation and algorithms, and we have very interested parties to try to drive this price higher, and not all of them are Saudi. And so we have our producers that would love to have oil spike so they can keep selling future production, in the out months, so they can just guarantee profit, and the banks are right with them who's lending them money. So whenever you get these moves like this, you can bet the bankers and American producers are involved in this as well, and everybody's overproducing. So I would not be shocked at all that we take out those August lows that are right here, because there's just no demand, and compared to the production that's coming out, and there's just simply no way anybody can put production down, because of their these are all petroleum states, and this is how they derive their government spending, and how they keep power, and these are thieves. So they're not going to which thief is altruistic, right? And so now Trump comes in, and he's going to throw the hand grenade in the room. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see oil in the 30s here in March. But from a technical standpoint here is that we're short XLE, and we're long drip, depending on what poison people wanted to take. And so it's oil rolling over. Stock market, I'm thinking it's pretty much in a topping zone here. And so anyway, that's oil. And then the last thing is, we had a great trade on natural gas. It's strictly weather related. and we actually caught that top perfectly. So it doesn't always work out that way because it happened during the trading day versus overnight. But if we shrink down into the hourly, during the day here, we cracked that a 10% move for us just after a couple days, and so in at 1220, out at 1345, and now we'll let it set up again, and we'll dive back into it again because December is going to be incredibly snowy, more than people are thinking. And in January, some of the climatologists that I follow are already putting out their forecast, and this data is coming from the government, so it's not like an ice age site or anything like that. And they're talking about, and I've been talking about this forever, the Siberian cold has a track that comes over, and it's going to come over across the Arctic, and it's going to come down over Canada, and it's going to come dumping into the middle of the United States. And they're saying that what's been blocking it in Siberia is going to relent coming in the 1st of January, which was something I've been saying for quite some time. And I think January through March is going to be brutally cold, and we'll see boil in the 20s, 22, 24, 25. I'm very confident that's what's going to happen. Natural gas is going to fly higher, and ironically, oil is going to go down because think about it. Everybody's snowed in, nobody's driving, and they're going to be heating their homes though. And so that's kind of my view on it. I'm pretty excited. And then the grains just keep on trucking. And so China is buying soybeans like it's going out of style. And so and then corn and wheat are following, and that's the genesis of JJG. Look at soybeans. I think the Chinese couldn't grow enough, and they're buying all our excess, and it's just absolutely been going absolutely crazy. And so keep an eye on this. This is what I warned you guys. China is going to suck up everything they can get their hands on. They know they're not going to be able to produce enough next year, and they're trying to build a stockpile with their trade balance with us. And if Trump screws that up on them in terms of the trade balance, is that it's going to get really, really expensive for them to be importing food and into a shortage. And I'm convinced, you could set aside all the arguments about global warming and global cooling. We have La Nina. We have a huge pool of cold water now from northern Japan almost all the way across now to Alaska. And we have the Siberian Jet Stream Express coming on board. People are going to get their crops in the ground early next year, and the Ukraine and Russia aren't going to be revisiting their bumper crop next year either, because that was a El Nino year. And so I'm expecting some fireworks in the grain markets, and we're already seeing it. In Western Australia, 90% crop loss, frost. 90%. And that's what happens. They start taking out some of these marginal producers, and the next thing you know, the stockpile is gone, and next thing you know, the grain prices are flying higher. South America's been struggling for the last couple of years. Looks like South Africa, though, is getting some beneficial rains, and looks like they'll probably have a good harvest, which they usually do during La Ninas. But that food doesn't go on the world markets. That pretty much stays in Africa. So anyway, this is Bob from Trade Genius. I hope you guys have a great night. I'll be doing a bunch of videos over the Thanksgiving long weekend, and looking for opportunities for us to make money, because December will be, I think, a really good trading month for us. Thanks, and have a great night. Bye-bye.